You might think there's a better protagonist than Raidou in the SMT universe, but you're wrong. Let's play the intro. Hello, humans, and welcome to Atlas Mega 10 Mondays. It's that time again when we discuss all things Atlas and all things Shin Megami Tensei and everything else in between in the Atlas universe. So sit back, relax, and let's see what we're going to talk about today in the Atlas Mega 10 universe. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. On today's episode... Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. That's right, it's Atlas Mega 10 Monday, baby, where we talk about Atlas and Mega 10 games. But anyway, today is a day that I want to discuss something that just crept into my mind, all of a sudden, which was, what would be the next sequel for Scramble games in the SMT universe? Now, if you remember when Persona 5 Scramble was announced, everybody was down and out because they thought it was going to be another Dynasty Warriors, just with Persona 5 characters. I mean, that's really what everybody thought, and they turned out to be wrong. It's actually a good game from what I've seen. I have not played it myself, but everybody that's played it has, good things to say about it generally. Now, it turned out to be a sequel to Persona 5, right? A direct sequel from what I read, anyway. But what people had trouble with in the beginning with this game was the combat system itself. Because, you went from a turn-based game to an action game. Why Raidou would fit so perfect, and a complete disclaimer here, I am the hugest Raidou fan. I think he is the best protagonist, in the whole SMT universe by far. He's just the most stylish, the coolest cat. He gets all the ladies, la da da da. Anyway, I think, these guys couldn't fulfill the vision that they had back in the PS2 era when this game came out. If you look at the styling of this game, you look at the artwork, everything, it's just amazing. And you can see what they were going for and what limitations the system had and what they couldn't reach, right? You can look at some of these, even though it's taken with a camcorder. This is the camcorder days before I had the capture card. You can still see that, the graphics are pretty limited to the machine that it was published on. But what they could do now on current generation hardware would be a lot better. Now, I don't see this game coming out on the Xbox, a new Series X Xbox, because, Japan, Microsoft relationship, that usually just doesn't work. But it would come out, for example, on the Switch, and I believe on the PS4, and it would translate well. Raidou, Devil Summoner Raidou and the Soulless Army had, to me, my favorite battle system ever in any SMT game, and that's because I love action games, so it was right up my alley. Now, think of this. They're already marketing Raidou on the Nocturne remaster. It would be a perfect time to launch this character again, right? Because he's going to have that exposure in Nocturne. And it would be great to include him in an action game, since his game was always action-based. And again, my favorite. I make no qualms about that. Not that I don't enjoy turn-based, but to me, this game just, blew it out of the park in that respect. Regardless, that's why it would translate well. Now, would it get censored? Probably, because, the time period this is and the political climate at the time, how heavily it would be censored, I don't know. I would love to see what they do with the characters, where they would take it. This would have to be a sequel game, so I would love to see the story develop to, what happens next. And it could be its own series, just develop, through the Scramble type game, make another 2-3 games But right now, I'm just waiting for the first one, right? We still haven't seen Persona 5 Scramble here in the States, and that usually has to do with quality, guys. I know it's frustrating for us here in the West not getting the games upon release, but usually when that happens, 9 times out of 10, it has to do with quality. Japan is a different culture. They value quality over quantity. They'd rather release a good game and release it late than a bad game to release it early. I wish more companies were like that, but you know that in that respect, you also have to pay the price of the game just not coming out in time. I wish they would take translations as part of the game creation process, but sometimes I don't know if these games are going to translate to the West. You know, that has a lot to do with it too. But for me, right, I'm not in the business of predicting. Let me say this, I have no inside information. I haven't talked to anybody or anything like that. Whenever I make these type of videos, they just go, you know, strictly what I think and based on reason and the facts I have before me right now. The facts I have before me right now is that the Scramble game for Persona was popular, right? And we're still waiting for it here. They're aware of that. Regardless of how it's sold in Japan, they know that we are hungry for that game to come out here to the States. They already know what the pre-orders are going to be like. And by the way, if you're into collecting, you need to buy this collector's edition ahead of time if you don't want to be paying $200 and $300 in the aftermarket, because they're just going to go nuts, right? Especially on that first Persona Scramble game, because it's going to be the first Persona game on the Switch, the first SMT universe game on the Switch, so that's really what's going to make it collectible. And man, I mean, for me to have this game portable on the Switch with new modern graphics is just going to be a dream come true. And when could we expect that? You know, I'd say about 1.5 to 2 years. I mean, Raidou right now is barely being marketed on Nocturne, so you know that's something I hope is going to blow up, you know, and give more exposure to the character, even though they're going to ban it, you know, in certain countries. But I think in the West, it's going to be received well, and I think a lot of people are going to get introduced to Raidou for the very first time on that game, which is going to be great. You know, for all intents and purposes, that is going to be a new game, especially with voice acting. So I'm very, very hopeful in the future. If I had to bet money on what the next sequel on the Scramble series would be for the SMT universe, I think Raidou would be the best choice. I think it would make the most sense because of the action battle system, because that character has already been introduced through Nocturne. And hey, you know, I just can't get enough of Raidou, right? Anyway, guys, that's the video for today. That's just a little bit of speculation on my part. I thank you for sticking around. I thank you for subscribing, and remember to press the like button. And for those of you who are new, thank you for subscribing to the channel. All right, don't forget to stay tuned for another Atlas Mega 10 Monday. I will catch you on the next one. Don't be afraid to be happy. Take care.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Gen X Gamer. Remember to like and subscribe, click the notification bell, and remember, never be afraid to be happy. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.